Hello, I'm Azai. Welcome back to Subahibi. So, this has been the longest time I haven't played Subahibi in. I took a break for, I believe, around 3 or 4 days. So, usually the reason is, like, I wasn't in the mood, or there was something in the story that kept me from, I wanted to reorganize my thoughts before something was happening, right? But this time was different. This time, I actually found out that a game, that an eroge was translated called Kamino Rhapsody. And it's a usually title, right? If you don't know, usually is a publisher of an eroge, and it made the iconic Kamidori Alchemy Master, or Master. I forgot the correct title, I suppose. But they focus on visual novels or eroges that have pretty good gameplay. Like, it's not the best gameplay there is, but for a freaking eroge, it goes into really deep about its mechanics. I really enjoyed it. Throughout the weekend, I played around 30 hours of the game. Like, holy shit. That's about as much... No, that's more than what I usually play for even a normal game. But yeah, that's the reason why I haven't been playing Subahibi. Thankfully, I still had videos lying around from me recording, like, future episodes. But, I should put that on hold and continue on Subahibi. But yeah, I'm now back again from Subahibi. Well, technically not a break, but I guess you can say it's a break. So, switching gears to thinking about Subahibi again, though. This, this genre of game or story or whatever you call it, not necessarily Subahibi, but I do enjoy this type of genre where it makes you, like, think about the stuff that you're... It makes you question about the stuff you used to think that, yeah, that's okay to do. But why do you think that? Like, my example in the last episode was that, when my dad kept praying about the deceased. Like, that's something I appreciate. Why do people do that? Why do people do that? I like that kind of thinking. When I was a kid, that kind of thinking was shunned. Purely because the adults themselves don't have the answer. Right? I always thought, why is violence bad? Because, like, I wasn't exactly bullied, but when I was a kid, there was this kid that actually bit me in my right shoulder. Because I don't know what his problem was. I forgot, right? But I didn't think we had any kinds of problems before. And suddenly he just bit me. So I was just amazed at what happened then. I didn't even think I punched him, but I was definitely angry because, like, who does that, right? So I do appreciate that kind of feeling that I should keep thinking along those lines from visual novels. And I'm not just saying, like I said, I'm not just saying this is exclusive to Subahibi. Surprisingly, the game that I played, Kamino Rhapsody, its story is garbage. Let me be clear. Its story is garbage. It's full of cute girls. It's a FAP game. But they have some okay scenes. The way the characters like you doesn't make any sense. They like you because you're the main character. So let me get that out of the way. But I do appreciate that the writing during the times we were talking with the boys is actually pretty solid. You know? We talk about knowledge, why do you seek knowledge and stuff like that. Yeah, there's a lot of garbage in there. Like I said, it's also a porn game. Like, comparing stuff like that to Subahibi might be like, not the best thing to compare it, but it's the same medium, technically. And I feel like I'm a hypocrite, because when I play Subahibi like this, I'm very, I'm criticizing it very much, right? But when I play Kamino Rhapsody, when there was a scene which you had sex with like a shellfish monster and a water spirit at the same time, from an objective point of view, you'd be like, what the fuck? But when you were playing it, oh yeah, this is a fap scene. I mean, I could differentiate, of course, like, I could differentiate reality and fiction. And I don't know, is it a good idea for me to play this game as fiction, or does it want to be taken as reality? Well, speaking from a different perspective, of course, it wants to take itself seriously, right? Because it's fiction to us, but for the game, that's that's its own reality. But yeah, I just like thinking like that. I don't know if that's necessarily good. I think these kinds of thoughts actually make you hard to fall asleep sometimes. I actually do. And I also think that it makes you, you know, not have as much fun when you play something, because you keep overanalyzing. But enough about my banter. Let's continue on chapter 7. Let us finish the final chapter. I do like the final chapter because it shows us scenes that we've never experienced before. One criticism I have about Subahibi, like one big criticism I have about Subahibi, is that the scenes repeat too much. Like, I understand, they are giving us answers about different perspectives, but they could have given us the answers without showing you the full brunt of the scene, you know? Like, chapter 5, for example, that was good. Chapter 5 was good. Chapter 4 was also okay. Well, let me say like this. Chapter 5 was good, but there was a lot of padding. I'm not saying, like... And this is not the kind of padding like, you know, the slice of life stuff. Well, it is the slice of life stuff, but... more so the fact that... when you know that something crazy is going on in chapter 3, but they're taking their time, it feels like there's some kind of inconsistent writing there. Like, the game doesn't get to its point real fast. It kind of undermines the situation, don't you think? I get it from the game's point of view. They don't know what the fuck is going on. You know, the other characters don't know what the fuck is going on, but still. From a pacing point of view, I think this game had issues with pacing. Alright, enough. I've actually talked a bit too long. Let's continue on. Man, I haven't talked to the microphone in so long, so I was just like rambling whatever I wanted to say. So sorry about that. But yeah, let me try to rethink about what happened last time. We played with Hasaki at the beach. And then I think, this is the part where they said about the dad dying, right? I think so. The end of summer, Hasaki and I had been called to visit our father in the hospital in Tokyo. All we were told beforehand was that he was going in for a routine checkup. But when we got there, we were greeted by the sight of him wasting away, hooked up to tubes and strange medical devices. Hasaki was reduced to simply clutching his hand, bawling her eyes out all the while. I couldn't do anything more than simply stand and watch. Takuji and his mother stood off to the side, their faces little more than expressionless masks. Outside, summer was drawing to a close, the sun quietly blazing away as it prepared for autumn. Inside, our father quietly drew his last breath. I couldn't help but wonder, did he know things were going to end up like this? Maybe that was why he sent Hisaki to live with us in the first place. Not long thereafter, they read us his will. I was still young at the time, and, moreover, still numb from what had just happened. All of the technical stuff they told us about dividing up his estate or whatever just went in one ear and out the other. The one thing came through loud and clear. Tomosane, I want you to take care of Hisaki. Okay, typo. That was the last message I received from my father. I found myself staring out of the window, gazing at the fading summer scenery. The blazing sun gave no indication that autumn would soon be upon us. A distant wall of rain clouds caught my eye as I idly scanned through the landscape. Those clouds were probably raining down on a fertile field. There were probably more important things to be worrying about as I sat there in the cold room, my father's motionless body lying in front of my eyes. But for the life of me, none of them came to mind. Hisaki never really stopped crying that day. I just sit there next to her, at a loss. I finally realized how much time had passed when the light filtering in through the windows faded to sunset's crimson. Roused from my reverie, I turned to find Takuji and his mother nowhere in sight. In their place stood our grandmother. She told me plainly that our father's ceremony would be carried out at the Mamiya house. In other words, in Sawamura. Apparently, this was upon our mother's request. So I assume what's going to happen next is this mom is going to perform some sort of ritual. Because she was from the... damn, I forgot her family name. Sanami family, right? They were supposed to be able to control spirits. And she tried to perform... I don't know, a resurrection of spirit to his dad. I couldn't help but wonder just how low she could sink. Her own husband had died, yet she was just passing the ceremony off to his relatives out in the country. Oh. Yeah, but she's still going to come, right? That's definitely not the implication I had when the grandma said that. She's still going to come to the countryside, right? Did she just feel absolutely no sense of responsibility for anything? At that moment, I could feel nothing but anger directed at her. The rest of my emotions laid uncannily silent. It was as if nothing else mattered. I want to understand, though, just how old was Tomosane when this happened. Like, because I want to have some sort of clear age right here, because the same kind of thing happened with my mom. Like, I briefly touched upon this during the last episode, but my mom died when I was 7 years old, right? I didn't even know the concept of death when I was 7 years old, right? So when my mom died, I didn't cry. I didn't cry because I didn't know she was gonna come back. It wasn't until I was in middle school that when I said my mom died, etc., that people felt sorry for me, right? And I'm like, why would you feel sorry? It's a natural thing. It's been 5 years, I said. So I actually never felt sad by the fact that my mom died, because I didn't feel too much attachment to her in the first place, right? I didn't build up enough attachment. But it was from people's mindset and people's perspective that I started to think about it. And that was the point where I actually cried when I came back from the school. Like, other people actually made me think about stuff that I thought was unnecessary. So, I don't know. Was what I thought the first time the correct thing? Was what I thought the next time? Or, you know, was what I thought after thinking about what people said to me the correct thing? I don't know. Asaki and I were told to return to Sawaimura ahead of everyone else in a car waiting outside. Asaki refused to budge at first, tears still welling up in her eyes. Hoping to assuage her in some way, our grandmother leaned down and spoke to her softly. Sorry that I'm giving you a lot of my perspectives. Like, technically speaking, watching someone on YouTube also means that you're watching it from their perspective, right? Unless you're watching like third person experiences on YouTube, like say a cooking show or whatever, right? So just like this game, when you don't have information, it's kind of normal for you guys to be like, what the fuck? I don't understand this guy. So it's my answer to make you guys, I guess, understand my point a lot more clearly. Your father's soul isn't in this hospital any longer, Asaki. He's going to travel back home to Sawaimura with you two. I'm sure he can't wait to get back. Be a good girl and head on home so you can leave too, okay? Asaki seemed to accept it after that. As for me, well, regardless of where our father's soul had gone, I didn't think he'd be returning to Sawaimura with us. I just refused to believe that. This time, our grandmother leaned in toward me. She spoke to me in the same tone she'd used with Asaki. One day you'll understand, Tomosane. Understand what? Why he had to die? Can you stop crying? Oh my god. I really don't like crying. Saki buried herself in Yukine's chest, tears streaming down her face. I just stood and watched. Yukine cast me a gentle smile as she rubbed Saki on the head. As soon as I caught sight of that smile, I just couldn't fight it back any longer. I couldn't make out anything but my own sobs. I must have been weeping pathetically, but all I could hear at the time was my own gasping. I guess you can say, like, when I was a kid, I grew up in a very, like, apathetic environment. I was left to do whatever I want. Video games were a lot more common during my time. So I was more doing my own thing after I came back from school, right? Coming back to school, playing video games. Yeah, I interacted with my brother and sister. But those weren't like the highlights of my days when I was a kid. It was always like playing video games. And mind you, when I was a kid, I'm not that fluent in English, so I skipped the story. I was there for mostly gameplay. It wasn't until like I was 12 or 13 that I started to read English very fluidly. And there were like no games in my own language that I was playing. There were like some fan translations and whatnot, but those are not official, you know. You can't buy them very easily. You can find them on the internet, but I wasn't very well versed on the internet until middle school. I buried myself in Yukine's arms and gave myself over to the tidal wave of emotion rushing through me. I'm just saying that Tomosane, in comparison to me, feels a lot more smart, you know? Just a moment ago, I hadn't felt anything but anger toward my mother. But right then, it felt like my heart was about to break from grief. I simply cried. Yukine said nothing. She just held us tight. I gave up trying to think about what was happening. I simply cried. Yukine kept holding us, a sad smile upon her lips. The tears just wouldn't stop coming. We stood there in her embrace, crying for what felt like years. Summer faded away around us. The piercing light of midday vanished like a candle in the wind. The fresh night air felt oddly soothing. We finally headed inside some time later. That night, Hasaki couldn't get to sleep. She kept coming to me, asking where our father had gone. Yeah, I was basically like Hasaki, but I didn't have attachment to my mom. I didn't ask dad. I didn't even keep asking dad, like, where's mom though? Like, I really just thought she went off somewhere, you know? You understand, right? When someone died, usually people say she went off somewhere peaceful, more peaceful, a better place, heaven. I actually believed that when I was a kid. Grandma told us he was here, so why can't we see him? I told her that he was up there in the sky now. That there was a place called heaven up there above the clouds, and that he had gone up there. Hisaki never did stop crying. She cried all through the night. Well, my circumstances are not like Hisaki's though. Hisaki and her dad was probably super close because he was the only one he could rely on at the house when there was no Tomosane. I finished the Tamaguchi offering, a ritual offering performed during the overnight vigil in the Shinto tradition. Then I noticed for the first time that Hisaki wasn't there.
さ、ゆきね。ん？どうったの？はさき見なかった。え？いないの？いや、さっきまでいたはずなんだけど。玉串法典の順番になった時にはいなかったんだ。トイレとか？一応、家とかのトイレは見てみたんだけど、いないみたいなんだよ。なんだよそれ。
Yukine quickly ran off to search around the house. I searched the area around the house too, looking in every place I could think of.
いた？いや、いない。みんなにも聞いたんだけど。
友さね、はさきちゃんがいないんだって。
Oh my god, Master. Why did you turn into a freaking sissy? What happened to you? What made you turn?
違うんだい。家にはいないと思う。押し入れとかまで探したから。周辺は探した。少なくとも家の周りにはいない。
なんでこんな時間に。
わからない。俺が玉串法典するまではいたと思うんだけど、気がついたら。とりあえず練習生とかにも探させて、お父さん。
ああ、わかった。とりあえず手の空いている人間すべてに頼む。
とりあえず友さね行くよ。まずは水際を探すわよ。水際？一番危ないでしょ。何かあったら取り返しがつかない。
俺は海側を探してくれ。
うん、さすがにあの年齢じゃ海までたどり着けるとは思えないから安心だけど、一応。じゃあ私と友さねは用水路見てくる。
ああ、頼んだぞ。
用水路にはいないみたいね。この先にため池ってあったわよね。どうしたの、友さね。 そういえば葉崎のやつ変なこと言ってたの思い出した。
Okay, this shouldn't be the part where Takuji tried to kill her. It should be the part where she tries to get over the hill.
変なこと？あのさ、学校の裏山の道あるじゃん。うん。あの先って何があるのって聞かれたことがあったんだよ。坂の先？坂の途中にひまわり畑があるだろ。葉崎の足だとあの辺りまで登るのが精一杯なんだよ。それでいつも葉崎はこのひまわり畑の先がどこに繋がっているのか聞いてきてた。何かこの先にあるんじゃないかって勝手な想像してて。あの先って単に山奥じゃないの？ああ、だからまずいかもしれない。この時間じゃ。友さね、急ぐわよ。葉崎ちゃん。
I searched the field of sunflowers with Yukine.
ひまわりって身長高いから全然わかんない。もしかしたらこの先の道行ったかもしれない。わかった。私あの道の先を探すから友さねはここで待ってて。なんで？バカ、夜の山道なんて子供歩かせられないでしょ。子供じゃねえよ俺は。うるさい。とりあえずここで待ってなさいよ。雪ね。
Just like that, she ran off down the road. To be honest, I can't run nearly as fast as her. Even if I ran after her, I couldn't catch her. I had nothing to do but look around the sunflower field. The sunflowers were even taller than I was, and my voice was drowned out in the thick vegetation. No matter how much I yelled, my words were simply swallowed up by the sunflowers. ちきしょう。あんまり声が通らないんだな。I kept yelling out into the field of sunflowers, but I wasn't accomplishing anything. Eventually, I went to search the top of the hill instead. I figured my voice would carry further if I went up to the peak. I stood up on a high place where I could look over the entire field, and as I was about to call out Hasaki's name again, once I could see out over the entire field of sunflowers, I noticed something for the first time. Over on the first side of the field, there was some kind of trail. The trail led up to the main mountain road. Yukine told me to wait, but I couldn't keep that promise. There was another road that Yukine didn't go down. It was possible that Hasaki actually went down this road. So I cut through the field of sunflowers and ran up the steep road. I had no idea where the road would lead. On the other side of the monstrous blooming sunflowers, that road led into the darkness itself, like something from beyond the pale of our own familiar world. If Hasaki took my words literally, that soul is far away, in the sky. He made his journey to a place called heaven. If she took those words literally, she would want to follow this path to its end. A path through the proud sunflowers into the heart of nature's darkness, like a path to connect the realms of life and death. If there was any place that Asaki would imagine her father's soul taking up its final residence, it would be this place, beyond the hill of sunflowers. That's why I ran. I ran up the steep hill with all my might. I ran headlong into the night, and I saw a light before me. It was like we were coming out upon the world's exterior. A world of deep blue. Brilliant, shining stars were woven into the tapestry. I'd never seen such a night sky. It looked like the sky was falling. I was taken aback by the sheer number of stars. I don't see any stars in the CG though. A starry night was always a beautiful sight in this village. But in the 3 years I'd lived here, I had never seen such a beautiful sky. It was like...
魂が飛んでるんだよね。
葉崎！
とも兄さん。
I barely caught Hasaki before she fell. She was totally covered in mud. She probably stumbled and fell when she was climbing up here. She was obviously so tired, she could hardly stand.
ねえ、このどれかがお父さんの魂なんだよね。でも葉崎の身長じゃお父さんの魂に届かないよ。
バカか。お前じゃなくても父さんの魂にはもう誰も手なんか届かないよ。
こんな近くまで来たのに。
それでも届かないんだよ。父さんの魂には。
世界の果てまで来たのに。
A sky full of stars that seemed about to rain down upon our heads. I wasn't really surprised that Asaki would think it was the edge of the world. That this could have been the edge of the world. Asaki started to cry.
ここは世界の果てじゃないんだよね。とも兄さん、お父さんの魂はここにはないんだよね。
Asaki cried into my chest. I just held her and tried to comfort her.
世界の果てはないんだよね。だって。
Asaki pointed with her finger, but she didn't point towards Sawamura. It was another village, just like Sawamura, lit up the lights of human life. Lit? Yeah. There was another village out there, and after that, a bigger town. No matter how far she walked, she would always find something else out there. No matter how far she tried to journey into the unknown, she could never reach the place where her father's soul had come to rest. That was the first time Asaki was forced to face the truth. That truth. The truth of her father's death. The true meaning of the word. I held Asaki close.
帰ろう。みんなが心配してるぞ。
I'm just saying, guys, like, these guys are close, right? Hasaki and Tomosane. You can kind of see the similarities between her truth during this time and my own truth by being told by everyone that they feel sorry for me. And as much as this is an emotional scene, most people wouldn't be able to, like, experience something like this. When I was crying my eyes out, I was in the toilet. Like, I can joke about it now because, like, I got through it. I don't think much about it anymore, right? But I don't think most people during their weakest, especially when they're very young, would have someone to rely on like this. At least I didn't. So I just assumed that most people would be like that. I don't know. To me, having someone does feel good, but it makes you weaker as a person to have someone to rely on every single time.
みんなが
And like, I guess it's like, it's up to whoever is living that life. If they want to keep relying on anyone else other than themselves, that's okay. I just don't view it that way.
ああ、そうだ。多分村中が大騒ぎになってるぞ。お前がいなくなったって。
大騒ぎ。
ああ、こんな時間に外出歩くなんて父さんが知ったら怒られるぞ。
ごめんなさい。
バカ、二度とするなよ。ほら。
I squatted down and gave Asaki my back.
本部、もう歩けないだろ。
そんなこと
ないんだったら倒れるなよ。ほら、乗れ。
ごめんなさい。
何が？
心配させて。
ああ、本当だ。
でもなんでとも兄さん 崎のいる場所分かったの？
なんで？バカかお前。
なんで？
お前のヒーローだって言ってるだろ。お前がピンチな場所に駆けつけないで何がヒーローだよ。
I think this is the first time we saw Tomosane's like bodily figure at this time anyway. And yeah, to me, he doesn't look like he's even 10 years old. This guy is too smart for being a kid.
とも兄さん。
ヒーローっていうのはそういう都合で作られてるんだよ。
But then again, maybe he's not smart. Maybe like looking after Hasaki is the only thing he has on his mind, since that was his dad's remaining words for him. He's trying to distract himself from his own sadness by doing what his dad wants him to do.
そうなんだ。
そうなんだよ。
あのさ、とも兄さん、これ。
なんだこれウサギの人形じゃないか。
片方あげる。
いいのか？一匹じゃ寂しがるんじゃないのか？
この子にはハサキがいるから大丈夫。
なんだそりゃ。そうだ。ならさ、あの店のウサギあるじゃん。あれ買ってやるよ。
I thought he made it for Hasaki.
あの店って？
ほら、ユキ姉とジャスーコ行った帰りにお前見てただろ。あの大きなウサギ。
若槻商店のウサギのぬいぐるみ？
Oh, so that's why Wakatsuki.
店名まで覚えてたのかよ。
若槻商店の子だった、あのウサギは。
そうか。ならその若槻商店のウサギをお前に買ってやるよ。
でも高いよ。
バカか。俺の貯金残高は国家予算並みなんだぞ。
Yeah, I don't think a young kid would know what a GDP is, Tomosane.
本当？
ああ、本当だ。だから安心しろ。
もし本当だったらこっちのウサギもたま兄さんにあげる。
両方。
そしたら寂しがらないよ、その子も。
なんだそりゃ。
さっきたま兄さんがくれたこと双子になる。だからこのウサギの双子はたま兄さんが預かってて。
なんだそりゃ。
Then Hasaki went quiet. I realized she had fallen asleep. She was obviously tired.
それにしても。
I told her I was her hero, but the truth is, it was just dumb luck that I found her. Or maybe it really was Dad leading me to her. They say a person's soul can stay on Earth for a while before leaving for heaven.
だったら父さん聞けよ。俺さ、俺父さんを恨んでるんだぜ。だってさ、父さんって誰にでも優しすぎだろ。だからこんなことになったんだよ。だからさ、死んだ後は葉崎だけを見ててくれよ。葉崎だけを守ってくれよ。他は望まない。こいつの幸せだけを見ててくれ。頼んだよ。
A starry sky, so full of stars that they could rain down upon our heads at any moment, laid above us. I stood under just such a starry sky as I uttered the last words I would ever say to my father. See, after the death of his father, I could understand why he would like Hasaki that much. But at the start of meeting with Hasaki, I would have thought that Tomosane would hate Hasaki or at least be indifferent. I don't know, maybe I'm forcing my own perspectives too much again. There was a problem with the doll I told Hasaki I would buy for her. Even with my savings that dwarf most countries' entire GDP, it was too expensive. Okay, so I did remember correctly. I decided to make one myself, and I asked Yukine for help. I went to the store over and over to take pictures, and the two of us analyzed how it was made. Yukina and I tried several times to create a rabbit, but it always turned out looking more like a squid or octopus. Nevertheless, we kept trying to make a good rabbit. When the seasons started to change, the autumn paints the trees with beautiful shades of red and orange. Yukine, Hasaki, and I walked through the falling leaves. Hasaki still didn't know much about the countryside, so she was stunned when she saw the leaves. To me and Yukine, it was completely normal, but it was a brand new experience for Hasaki. Hasaki gasped as she looked up at the fiery colors in the trees. Her face was kind of funny. When winter came, Sawamura was closed off by snow. Winter isn't really that long, but compared to Tokyo, an unbelievable amount of snow falls every year. I played with Hasaki in the snow more times than I could count. By then, Hasaki had some friends too. I played with her and her friends in the snow. We had snowball fights. We built snowmen. We even built igloos in the snow. Hasaki thought that igloos only existed in storybooks, so she was happier than I'd ever seen her when we built a real one. Hasaki's blustery red face stood in contrast to the world of white that surrounded us as we played in the snow. I had never seen Hasaki smile so much before. That's when I knew that I was really glad that Hasaki had come to the village. There were no weird prophecies to worry about here. That weird woman we call our mother, and Takuji too. They couldn't bully her out here. Hasaki laughed in the snow. As she played in the snow, her cheeks were bright red from the cold. The garish decorations that would mark Christmas in Tokyo were almost completely absent in this village. The shopping center in the next town over was pretty heavily decorated, but there was nothing special happening in Sawamura. This year, Hasaki spent the New Year with the Mamiyas. Unlike Christmas, New Year's was a lavish event with the Mamiyas. It's a Shinto holiday as well, so that shouldn't be surprising. I got a New Year's gift from Yukine. There was only 5 yen inside. Thanks a lot, Yukine. I was going to get mad at her for that, but then I saw that Hasaki got 10,000 yen in hers. Yukine laughed and said,
二人で使ってよ。
Yukine said she had plenty of money since she had been working part-time in the next town over. But I couldn't really believe that a student like Yukine would have plenty of money. I was thankful regardless. Then Yukine said something else.
たまにはちゃんとお姉さんらしいことしなきゃな。
Yukine smirked after saying that. What are you talking about? You've always been like a big sister to me. Yukine was always like a big sister watching out for us. Then the seasons changed again. Spring came. We kept making rabbits, and by this time we had quite a few failed creations. The white ears and paws we tried to put on each rabbit ended up looking more like tentacles on a squid. We came back to that store so many times that the old lady who owned the shop gave us the measurements for the rabbit doll, and she even gave us a stand for a doll to sit on. Then, after so many prototypes, we finally finished the doll that looked like a real rabbit. Before I knew it, fall and winter had already turned into spring. By the time I could give her the rabbit doll, Hasaki had grown accustomed to life in Sawamura. As it turned out, no one bullied her while she was here. Hasaki even had lots of good friends. Her life here was happy. A spring snowfall. A season of falling cherry blossoms. Hasaki and I both advanced a grade in school. Yukine too, of course. And the new year was about to start. Or so we thought. Just before summer, I remember the events of that day. The first day Hasaki came to this village. The last day I saw my father smile. That summer, the sun was stronger than ever, blazing down on the land. Only a year had passed, but it felt like we'd been together for a very long time. I lived with Hasaki as the various seasons passed, and then summer came around again. Sawamura was covered in greenery, and the sky was blue. and the sun shone upon it. Sunflowers raised their proud heads on that hill once again. That was a pretty long monologue. I enjoyed reading it though. The end of summer. Even then, the sun still blazed high in the sky. Cumulonimbus. I suppose that's supposed to be cumulonimbus or something. A kind of familiar name. Cumulonimbus still floated high in the blue sky. Those clouds no doubt rained down on a parched field out there. The end of the season. The same day that Dad died had come again. A year later, it was still a sad day. We had a lot of fun times, but Asaki still cried on the night before the anniversary of his death. It'd been a long time since Asaki had cried. Maybe it'd been a whole year. 1 year since that day. I kept thinking about that day. Then something happened to destroy it all. On the anniversary of his death, that woman appeared, even though she hadn't come to the funeral. Takuji and our mother had come to Sawai.
なんであんたが来てるんだよ。
What a creepy outfit. She just looked at me. Takuji stood in front of her. Yeah, I kind of guessed like Tomosane looks like the real Takuji.
お母さんに対して相変わらずの口の聞き方だね。兄さん。
Same VA too.
俺はこの女を母親なんかと思ってねえよ。
とも兄さん。
あさき、久しぶりだね。
何不気味な声で笑ってるんだよ。葉崎怖がってるだろ。
不気味とは失礼だな。久しぶりに妹に会ったんだからさ。今のは笑顔だよ。
笑顔？大層不気味な笑顔なんだな。
相変わらずだな、兄さんは。
お母様は？
ばあちゃんなら母屋にいるよ。
そう。拓司、行くわよ。
なんであいつら沢井村に？
お父さんの1年祭に出るためかな。
1年祭に？新総裁すら出なかったやつが？
よくわからないけど。
拓司のやつ相変わらずだったな。
拓司兄さんはお母さんの言うことをよく聞くから。
あのマザコンが。
あんたなんかシスコンじゃん。
I can't believe they translated momcon or siscon like this. I mean, technically I guess, but that's not the literal translation. That's okay, I guess.
なんだと？雪ね。
何？今の友実の弟さん？
ああ、葉崎の双子の兄だ。
双子なんだ。へえ。
How is that a twin? She and him doesn't look anything alike.
あいつは葉崎に暴力を振るうようなろくでもないやつだ。
暴力？兄弟喧嘩ってことじゃなくて？
葉崎がそんなことするわけないだろ。ほぼ一方的だよ。
そうなんだ。お、相変わらず葉崎ちゃんはいつでもその人形持ってるんだね。
Asaki hugged the rabbit doll to her chest. It took me and Yukine 3 seasons to make that rabbit. It wasn't quite as good as the rabbit in the store window, but Asaki was quite enamored with her doll nonetheless.
友実も葉崎ちゃんにもらった双子のウサギはちゃんと持ってるの？
部屋にある。
バカかお前は。携帯電話とかにつけろ。肌身離すんじゃない。
男があんなもんつけられるかよ。
ダメだったかな。
バカモ
いってだからいちいち殴るなバカ。
バカはお前だ。ったく葉崎ちゃんの大切な宝物を何たる言い草だお前は。
そうかもしれないけど でもさ、あんなウサギのストラップなんてつけられないだろ
うっさい。ちゃんと肌身離さずに持ってろ、バカモン。
う。まあ、わかった。
それでどう調子は、その人形。
たまにほつれたらトモ兄さんが直してくれる。
そうなんだ。
おかげさまであれだけ作り直したからな。裁縫までできるようになった。
重さね、何でもできるな。
学校でもすごいんだよ。トモ兄さん成績もいいし、スポーツもすごいし。
いや、成績はさ、この村のレベルが低いというか。
でも東京でも成績良かったって聞いてるよ。
まあ一応は勉強してたからな。あのクソ託児に全てにおいて負けるの嫌だからさ。
あはは、弟さん本当に嫌いなんだ。
嫌いなんてもんじゃねえよ。あいつには全てにおいて勝たないとな。
でもトモ兄さんがいなくなった後、拓司兄さんすごい成績だったみたいだよ。全国の模試で名前が載ったって。
え、マジで？
おやおや、いきなり負けてるじゃん。
いいんだよ。男は成績なんて小さなことで勝負が決まるわけじゃない。
なら何で決まるの？
そりゃ男なら拳だ。
そうか。
とりあえず葉崎、拓司が何かやってきたらすぐに叫ぶんだぞ。あいつ何考えてるかわからないから。
Yukine's expression was conflicted. She probably wanted to say that siblings should get along. But Yukine also understood that our family situation wasn't quite that simple. So she looked troubled, but she couldn't say anything.
なんだ兄さん。
Sorry about that. Had to use the restroom. I'm back.
お前ら何しにここに来た？
何しに？当たり前だろう。今日は父さんの1年祭じゃないか。
何言ってやがれ。父さんの新総裁すら出なかったお前らが。
それはあまりにも母さんが悲しんでいけなかったんだよ。母さんは父さんを愛していたからね。
愛していた？バカじゃねえか。愛してたんならなんであの女は父さんを裏切ったんだよ。
母さんが父さんを裏切った？それって僕と葉崎が生まれたこと、そう理解して構わないのかな。
何？
葉崎と僕は間宮の子供じゃないからね。半分は母親さなみの血、そしてもう半分は白蓮華教会の教祖の血。それが意味することは僕みたいなガキでもわかるよ。僕らはコウノトリが運んだものでもキャベツから生まれたものでもない。原因と結果。兄さんは原因を裏切りというのだろう。けれどもそれが裏切りだというのならば、その結果生まれたのが僕と葉崎ではないのかい？
そんなへりくつ言ってるんじゃない。
No, he's making perfect sense. That's why I'm, like, confused why Tomosane seems to be okay with Asaki. Since, like, the result of the betrayal is these two.
へりくつなもんかい。事実だよ、事実。兄さんが母さんを裏切り者というのならば、その罵倒は葉崎にも浴びせるべきじゃないか。
Makes perfect sense to me.
なんでそうなる。葉崎は何も悪くない。あいつは何も悪いことなんてしてない。そんな葉崎を誰が罵倒なんてできる。
I mean, yeah, most people wouldn't say that a child and the mother are the same individual, but a child like Tomosane, I don't think would be able to understand that, right? If you don't like the mom, of course you would dislike her child. That's usually the case, and
できるわけないだろう、そんなこと。俺が許さない。絶対に許さない。
I don't know, Tomosane. That feels inconsistent.
兄さんは相変わらず論理的じゃないな。僕には全く理解できないよ。母さんが裏切り者なら、僕も葉崎も裏切りの産物。倫理的に望まれず生まれ落ちた裏切りの象徴だ。それが論理的推論ってやつじゃないのかい？
What a creepy guy. He was always like this, but he's gotten even worse with age. He keeps using words I've never heard before.
葉崎が裏切りの象徴なわけないだろう。お前はいつだって言葉をもてあそんで適当な言い訳をさぞもっともらしく。
I think you're the one that's like averting from even trying to understand his point of view, Tomosane, in this case. Not to say it's wrong, because I understand your point of view too. You were too stubborn to even understand what he's saying. But I don't agree with you.
父さんを裏切り、他の男と寝たあの女は裏切り者だ。それだけが事実だ。
Yeah.
だからといって葉崎に罪はない。葉崎に罪があるわけがない。誰が何と言おうと葉崎に罪なんてない。
Yeah, but what Takuji was saying is also the truth. These two are the proof of her treachery, the proof of her betrayal. Wouldn't normally people not be able to objectively say it's not her fault? Unless there's blatant bias towards the person, there's no way like anyone would say that. Which makes me, like I said, the issue stems from why the fuck did Tomosane like Hasaki so much? That's, to me, that's illogical, just like Takuji said.
なんでそこまで葉崎を擁護したがるんだい、兄さんは。
If her love toward Hasaki was after her father's death or his father's death, that's okay. That is impactful, and to me that doesn't cause an issue. But liking her from the start feels, why? That's illogical.
当たり前だ。葉崎は俺の妹だ。
See, Tomosane, that argument doesn't work because Takuji is your little brother.
裏切り者の血と姦淫した者の血で生まれたものだけどね。
And you hate him just fine.
血なんて関係ない。何が裏切り者の血だ。姦淫した者の血だ。バカじゃねえのか。葉崎は俺の妹。それ以外の何者でもない。
兄さんはもう少し頭がいいと思ってたけど、全然議論にならないよ。
お前みたいな人間と議論なんてする気なんかない。
なぜそうなるんだよ。葉崎が妹ならば、僕だって兄さんの弟じゃないか。
ああ、そうだな。そう思えると信じていた時期もあった。けどな、葉崎の死を望むような人間を俺は弟なんて認めない。
またそれか。いつ僕が葉崎の死を望んだんだよ。
いつでもだ。お前たちはいつでも葉崎がいなければ、葉崎がこの世界から消えてしまえばいいと考えていた。お前とあの女がそれを何度も口にしていたのを聞いてる。
はあ、それは勘違いだよ。
勘違いなものか。お前らはまだあの得体の知れない予言とやらを信じているのだろう。
得体の知れないか。なるほど、兄さんが言ってるのは白レンゲ教会の教祖の予言のことだよね。
ああ、お前もあの女もそれを信じてるからこそ 葉崎を憎むんだろ。
そんなことないよ。僕は葉崎を憎んでなんていないよ。
とぼけるな拓司。
わかったわかった。じゃあ半分譲って、昔はそんなことを少し思ってた時期もあるかもしれない。だとしても未だに僕が葉崎を嫌っているわけがないじゃないか。僕にとっても葉崎は大切な双子の妹だ。
大切なのはお前らが信じてる救世主の血とかいうやつじゃないのか。
白レンゲ教会の予言、あれをまだ僕らが信じてると思ってるのかい？
ああ、そう思っている。
あれは過去の話だよ。だいたいもうお母さんは白レンゲ教会を脱退しているだろう。もうそろそろ母さんと僕を信じてくれてもいいんじゃないかい？きっと父さんだってそれを望んでいるはずだしね。
父さん。
I guess that really is what Dad would have wanted. He wanted us to live together as a family, not keep on hating each other. But,
とりあえず葉崎に変なことしたらただじゃ済まないからな。あの女にも伝えておけよ。
あの女とか、また兄さんは母さんにひどいことを言う。いい加減その言い方も直したらどうなんだい？
お前に何と言われようと俺はあの女を許さない。理由が何であれ父さんや俺を裏切ったことには変わりない。
久しぶりに会ったけど幻滅したよ兄さん。
何？
だって全然兄さんは子供だ。さっきから話しててまるでダダっ子だ。
なんだと拓司。
そういえば兄さんは相当強くなったみたいだね。
ああ、そうだ。
兄さんは昔から強かった。でも今はあの時なんて比べ物にならない。
前置きはいい。喧嘩売ってるんなら買ってやる。早くかかってこいよ。
やだやだ。何を勘違いしてるんだか。僕はそういうの全然ダメなんだからさ。
なんだと？
僕だっていつまでもガキじゃない。兄さんにかなわないもので、特に無価値なものに対して執着なんてしない。
無価値だと？
ごめん誤解しないでよ。僕が兄さんに喧嘩売るようなことはしないって意味なんだからさ。単純にかなわない相手に突っかかったりしないってだけの意味だよ。
Takuji made that creepy laugh again. Even though his face was laughing, his eyes looked completely different. Japanese sure like that word, huh? The anniversary ceremony ended before the sun went down. I tried to help with the cleanup, but Yukine stopped me.
そういうのはさ、道場の練習生とかやるからいいよ。それよりさ。
Then Yukine took my hand. Saki was still holding onto my other hand. The sun was already setting as the three of us hit the road. As the curtain of night fell, Hasaki, Yukine, and I walked up that same hill.
いつ見てもすんげえひまわりだな。
ああ、こんだけ数があるとそうか。というより、やや不気味なくらいだ。
そんなことないよ。ひまわりすごく綺麗だし。
葉崎ちゃんはひまわり好き？
ゆきさんは？
私か。まあ普通に好きなぐらいかな。
そうなんだ。私は大好き。
おい、あんまり走るな。去年みたいにこけるぞ。
まあいいじゃんかよ。ひまわりなんて年がら年中見られるもんじゃなし、少しははしゃがしてあげなよ。
まあそうかもしれないけど。
それに葉崎ちゃんだってこの1年で大きくなったんだ。そんな簡単にこけたりしないよ。
あ、
Saki really had changed in the last year. Her feet looked clumsy and unsure before, but now they were nimbly danced over the soft earth. Now they nimbly dance, okay.
友さねはどうなの？ひまわり。
ひまわりの印象か。なんか本で調べたらひまわりってキク科の植物なんだってな。
そうみたいだね。
だから少し似てるのかな。
似てる？何？
そのままキクだよ。
そうか？まず大きさが違く見えるけど。
What's some mums?
ああ、大きさも形も違うけどさ、似てるよ、ひまわりとキクは。
どんなとこ
Oh,
ろが似てるの？
chrysanthemums, okay. Why would they abbreviate that to mums? Is that common? That's so weird way to say it.
陰気臭い。
そうなんだ。
Yukine looked up at the sunflowers again, as if she was convinced by my answer.
でもさ、ひまわりってさ、よくお日様の方向を向いて咲き続けるって言うじゃない？夏のお日様に向かって咲き続けるなんて、まるで明るさの象徴みたいだけどね。
ひまわりは太陽に向かって咲かないよ。
え？そうなの？
ああ、ひまわりが太陽を追っているのはつぼみがつく前だ。一度咲いてしまったひまわりは太陽を追いかけない。
へえ、そうだったんだ。
なんかそういうところも陰気臭い。
なんでそうなるんだよ。
ああ、ひまわりを陰気だというやつがあまりいるとは俺も思わないけど。けどさ、この花はまるで俺には
To me, they're like...
葬式の花に見えちまう。多分あの日の印象が強いんだろうけどさ、葉先を追いかけてこの坂を登った時の記憶。
Saki is here with you guys, right? Can't believe he's, being this gloomy around Hisaki.
なるほど。坂道のひまわりは個人を送る花のようか。
まあそんな感じなんだろうな。
Once you wade through the sunflowers, you came upon a road shrouded in darkness. Just like last year, it looked like the road to the underworld. Last year, I didn't know this. There are actually a lot of people who believe that road crosses over the border to the underworld. I later realized that there are a lot of mentions of that road in old books in the village. In reality, that road doesn't lead to the underworld at all. Oh, sorry about that. Wow, what the fuck? There's a fly in my room. Give me a sec, guys. Alright, back. That was very strange. How would a fly get inside of my room? I never even opened my windows. Maybe when I was opening the door, one flew inside or something. Maybe back when I was going to the restroom. Interesting. Neither Hades nor heaven, nor even a new world lies beyond that peak. It's just another ordinary landscape on the other side.
葉咲ちゃん大丈夫？結構な坂道だけど。
大丈夫。
ゆきね、心配するなよ。何度も丘まで坂道を歩いたよ。だいたいあれから1年経ってるんだよって言ったのがゆきねだろ。
大丈夫だよ。あの時とは違うから私。
そうだね。だいぶ葉咲ちゃんこの1年で大人になったね。
そんな簡単に大人になんねえだろう。たかだか1年で。
見る目ないね。葉咲ちゃんは確実に大人になってるよ。
具体的にどこがだよ。
そうだね。例えば身長。
そりゃそうだけど、そんなのまだまだチビじゃんかよ。
他はね、一人称が葉咲から私に変わったりね。
そういえば前は葉咲って自分のことを葉咲って言ってたよな。なんで変えたの？
変えた？私って自分のことを葉咲って言ってたっけ？
今もたまに言うよ。でも大体私になってるよ。
そうなんだ。自分でも気がつかなかった。
What's so strange about calling yourself in third person?
まあ自分の呼び方なんてその時で変わるんだけどね。でも確実に変わってるよ。
よく気がつくな。
気がつきますよ。あんただってだいぶ男っぽくなってきた。
俺は元から男だ。
違うよ、成長したってこと。
そうか？
あんたら自分たちが成長期だからいろいろわからないんだよ。まあそういうのってあるよね。自分では変わってないはずなのに変わってることって。登れないと思い続けてた遠くかすむ坂道とかさ、知らないうちに日常で使う坂道になっている。時が過ぎて変わるのは景色なのか自分なのか、自分自身じゃよくわからないよね。
ユキ姉とかもそうなのか？
どうだろうね。友さね的に見てどうなのよ、私は。
あんまり変わらない。つーか全然。
そっか、そうだよね。
We made our way through the darkness and came out on the same hilltop as before. The stars shone in the clear sky.
すご
やっぱり今日は星が綺麗だね。今日は下限の月。
加減？
そう、下限の月。そしてそれがまだ姿を見せてないんだよ。月明かりがないからそれだけで星はよく見えるんだよ。
い。それでこんな星が綺麗なんだ。
うん、そうだね。
遊んでいい？
うん、でもこっちから先行っちゃダメだよ。
なんで？
この丘って崖になってる場所があるんだよ。
崖？
うん、だからこっち側に行っちゃダメだよ。
わかった。
友曽根は
俺が何？
遊んでこないの？
なんで？
遊びたいだろう。
別にガキじゃあるまいし。
ガキのくせに。
このやりとりも飽きた。
そうかもね。だから早く大人になってよ。
なんだよそれ。またガキ扱いか？
違う。早く男になってくれって言ってるのよ。
だから俺は男だ。
What does that even mean?
あったく、回りくどい言い方するとすぐこれだ。
だったら回りくどく言うなよ。
ああ、わかったよ。友さねさ、早く大人になって私にプロポーズしてよ。
That came out of nowhere.
なんだそりゃ。
何赤くなってるのよ。
Guess that is just her type of humor.
なんだ転がったのか？
だって真っ赤な顔だし。
なんだとこの。
やめろって。で、
Can we not do this?
あんたさ、前より体大きくなってるんだからさ、気をつけてよ。支えきれないってば。
ごめん。
何赤くなってるの？
いや、
あれってスカート見た？
いや、少し。いや、ごめん。なんだよ。
いやさ、下着見えたりするの気にするとか、お互いにそんな年齢になったんだなってさ。
なんだそれ。
わかんないか？まあそうかもね。でも前だったら友さねのことガキだとしか思ってなかったから、下着ぐらいなんてことなかったんだけどね。
I don't know, Yuki. After thinking about it, age doesn't really matter, you know, especially when it comes to stuff like this. Yeah, with age, I guess you became a lot more sexually aware of yourself. But I feel like when you're not really sexually attracted to someone, it doesn't matter whether you show them your underwear or not. Yeah, sure, there's gonna be a reaction. I mean, that's just physical reaction, right? When you see something, you get horny. When you see something sexual. Well, what I'm saying is that the intent, as long as the intent is not there, you won't like have sex with your own sister. Whether you see
なのに
them naked or
私も
not.
赤くなってあんたまで赤くなって。
当たり前だろ。
そうだね。そうだ。そうだね。
Yukine kept on laughing loudly. I didn't understand why she was laughing. I wasn't entirely sure, but I felt like she wasn't making fun of me this time.
いやー、すんげえ星空だ。まるで星が落ちてくるみたいだ。
でも星なんか落ちてこないけどな。
そうだね。星は落ちてこない。落ちてくるのは遥か先の世界で星が発した光だけ。世界って面白いな。
何が？
いやだってさ、あんな遥か遠くの世界の光だって見えるんだよ。
それのどこが不思議なんだよ。
僕たちの頭ん中ってどのくらい？
何それ？
詩だよ。世界で私が好きな詩。僕たちの頭はこの空よりも広い。ほら、二つを並べてごらん。僕たちの頭は空をやすやすと入れてしまう。そしてあなたまでをも。僕たちの頭は海よりも深い。ほら、二つの青と青を重ねてごらん。僕たちの頭は海を吸い取ってしまう。スポンジがバケツの水をすくうように。僕たちの頭はちょうど神様と同じ重さ。ほら、二つを正確に測ってごらん。違うとすれば、それは言葉と音の違いほど。
言葉と音。
そう。
そんなの間違いだ。
なんで？
神様なんかいない。
神様はいない。世界には。なるほど。
ああ、いるわけがない。
If he existed, then why would he make our family be like this? Why would he kill Dad?
神様って人はさ。
人じゃないし。
じゃあ神様ってさ、いたとしても無能で無力などうしようもないやつだ。
何もしないどうしようもないやつ？あ、でもさ、それ私も思ったことあるよ。神様が1週間で世界作った言うじゃん。そんなのデタラメだよ。だってさ、もし神様が世界を作ったようなやつなら絶対こう言ってるぜ。
Wasn't this a conversation we had in chapter 2?
こんなものは私が作るものではなかった。それか、まだできてないんだよ。
ああ、そう思う。地上にどれだけ悲しい目に遭ってるやつがいても無視するような最低野郎だ。
I mean, that's if he exists, right? If he doesn't exist, you don't have to think about it that strongly, Tomosane.
もし神様が人みたいなもんならそんなこと言われても仕方ないよね。確かに最低なやつだ。万能なくせに何にもしないんだからな。
I mean, isn't that just like how humans are?
でもさ、ともさねはこんな話聞いたことある？
話？
うん。砂浜の足跡。
No?
なんだそれ。
神は我々と共に歩む。だから死後、自分が歩いた道を見ると必ず寄り添う足跡がもう一つ見つかる。人生は寄り添う力で支えられてる。でもさ、一番辛い時、悲しい時に足跡は一つになってるんだってさ。
一番辛い時にそばにいないのかよ。でもそれが神様ってやつだよな。
違うよ。その時神は立ち止まって動けない人の足そのものになってくれるんだってさ。
自分の足そのもの？
That's a pretty beautiful outlook on, you know, on that scene. Never thought about it that way.
そう。立ち止まっていると思えた道も必ず先に進んでいる。まるで 葉崎ちゃんが登れないと思ったあの坂道みたいに、人は先に進む。その歩みを止めることはない。たった一つの思いを心に刻み込まれて。
たった一つの思いを刻み込まれる？
そう、命令にした刻印。すべての人、いやすべての生命がその刻印に命じられて生きている。
すべての生命を命じる刻印。
そうね。その刻印にはただこう刻まれている。幸福に生きよ。猫よ、犬よ、シマウマよ、虎さんよ、セミさんよ、そして人よ。等しく幸福に生きよ。
なんだそれ。
幸福を願わない生き物はいない。すべての生き物が自らの幸福を願う。そう命じられてるから。
それって命令なのか？
さあね。ただ実際そうでしょ。人もまた、いや、人は動物なんかと比べ物にならないぐらいに幸福に生きようとし、そして絶望する。
なんでそうなるの？
幸福はそれを望まなければ絶望なんてない。あれだよ、動物が絶望しないと同じだな。
でも動物も幸福に生きようとするだろう？
そうだよ。
ならなんで動物は絶望しないんだよ。
そんなの当たり前じゃん。動物は幸福に生きてるからだよ。
なんだよそれ。幸福じゃない動物だっているだろ？
いないよ。動物はいつだって幸福なんだよ。死ぬその瞬間まで全ての生き物は等しく永遠に幸福だ。
なんでだよ。
なんでだろうね。
わからないのかよ。
そんなことないよ。答えは簡単だよ。死を知らない。動物は永遠の層を生きている。だから幸福に生きようとする動物はいつだって幸福なんだよ。
動物って死を知らないのか？
当たり前じゃない？
なんで？
だってさ、本当は誰も死なんて知らないんだからさ。
誰も？
そう、誰も死なんて知らない。死を体験した人なんかいないんだからさ。死は想像。いつまで経っても行き着くことのできない。人は死を知らずにもかかわらず、人は死を知り、そしてそれがゆえに幸福の中で溺れることを覚えた。絶望とは幸福の中で溺れることができる人にだけ与えられた特権だな。
特権ってどう考えても悪いもんじゃ。
そうだね。でもだからこそ人は言葉を手に入れた。空を美しいと感じた。良き世界になれと祈るようになった。言葉と美しさと祈り、3つの力とともに素晴らしい日々を手にした。人よ、幸福たれ。幸福に溺れることなく、この世界に絶望することなく、ただ幸福に生きよみたいな。
ただ幸福に生きようか。
いや、少しかっこつけすぎか。でもすごいな。
何が？
いや、改めて空見るとさ、やっぱり星空はすげえなーってね。
Yukine stretched her arms out and laughed.
これだけの空、これだけの宇宙が全部頭の中にあるんだよ。すごいすごい。
全部頭の中に。
When she told me that, I looked up at the sky once again. This beautiful sky is in the world inside of my head. Of course, that makes perfect sense. But once I arrive at that thought, my feelings change to fear. All of it is just my own world. Anyone would be overwhelmed if they were faced with the realization that such an expansive, starry sky was all within their own head.
今言ったことさ、全部今考えたことなんだよ。
そうなの？
うん、そう。今この空見てて思った。もちろんずっと疑問には思ってた。友実と同じように 神様なんて世界にいない。それどころかこの世界に生まれるのは呪いに似たものだって。だってさ、死んじゃうんだからさ。どんな幸せな時間も終わる。どんな楽しい時間も終わる。どんなに人を愛しても、どんなに世界を愛しても、それは終わる。死という名の終止符を打たれて。だからこの世界に生まれ落ちるってことは呪いに似たものだと思ってた。
Makes sense.
だって幸福は終わりを告げてしまうのだから。それが原因なのかさ。何度か同じような夢見てたんだよ。
What dream?
同じような夢。
そ
Oh,
う、夢。赤ちゃんの夢。
this is your dream, Yuki?
赤ちゃんの夢が怖いのかよ。
うん、怖いね。私が泣き出すぐらいに怖いよね。生まれたての赤ん坊がいるんだよ。誰が産んだのか知らない。いや、もしかしたら私が産んだのかもしれない。だから私は嬉しかったんだと思う。
嬉しかったの？
うん、嬉しかった。それでさ、その赤ん坊は泣くんだね。おぎゃーおぎゃーってさ。嬉しくて私とかも笑うんだよ。周りのみんなも一緒に。それは祝福なんだよ。生命に対する祝福。だってさ、単純に嬉しいからさ。赤ちゃんがこの世界に出てきてくれてありがとうって。だから世界は生の祝福で満たされる。でもさ、でも私は気がついちゃうんだよね。あ、違うって。その時私は一人で恐怖するんだよ。すべての笑顔の中で私だけが恐怖するの。だってさ、気がついちゃうんだもん。その子は世界を呪っているんだってさ。生まれたことを呪っていることに。みんなの笑顔の中で私だけ凍りつく。祝福に包まれた世界で一人。その時私は思うんだ。その赤ん坊の泣き声を止めなきゃいけないって。私は生まれたての赤ん坊の首を絞めて、その人生をそこまでで終わらせなきゃいけないってさ。だって生まれるって呪いだもん。少なくとも生まれたばかりの子供はそう考えてる。だからその呪われた生を終わらせるために。でもさ、当たり前だけどできないんだよね。おぎゃおぎゃって泣いている赤ん坊の首を絞めるなんてできないよ。
Why can't you do it?
なんでだろう。赤ん坊は生を呪っているのに、でも私はその生を断ち切ることができない。
I mean, if you know that was a dream, or maybe it's morals that are holding her back even inside of the dream.
しなきゃいけないのにできない。
Probably some sort of, you know, it's to represent how humans are always contradicting each other, or even their own selves.
でさ、私さ、うわんうわん泣いちゃうんだよ。そんなこと現実では全然ないのにさ。そのうち赤ん坊の泣き声がね、普通になっているのに気がつくのね。普通におぎゃおぎゃって泣いてるんだよ。その声を聞きながらさ、私は良かったと思うんだ。
You know, Yuki, a newborn can't curse the world. They're not smart enough to do that just yet. It's your own interpretation.
そして祈るんだよ。この命に幸いあれって。その意味が今日すべて明かされた。
そうなのか？
まあ、友実にはまだわからないだろうね。でも私はこの星空を見てその答えが分かった。なぜ生まれた赤ん坊の泣き声を止めてはいけないか。
Why is that?
なぜ人は自分以外の死を悼むのか。
Why is that?
そしてその痛みは 決して過ちではなく正しき祈りなんだってさ。世界を愛すること、世界のすべてが愛で満ちていること、それは祈り。自分が見上げたこの夜空が祝福されていること、それは祈り。世界は祝福で満ちている。だから人は永遠の層に生きることができる。できるんだ。
They can, yeah. But, do we?
雪ね。
すげえな。孔子先生はさ、朝に真理を知ることができるのなら、その日の夕方には死んでも構わないって言ってるんだぞ。私、死ぬのか？
その孔子って人が求めた真理を雪姉は知ったの？
知らないけどね。
Yukine laughed, as if she was convinced that she really would die soon. She blessed our final night. It was several more minutes before I noticed something was strange. I felt that there was someone behind me. Yukine and I both noticed it. Probably just a typo. Hello, I'm future Azai, cutting you guys off because this episode had gone way too long. Sorry for the cock block or cliffhanger in the story, but that's just how it is, you know. I try to cut this down half to half by the amount of time I was recording, and surprisingly, it cuts off at the perfect moment. So the finale for chapter 7, at least this ending, will be on the next episode. And yeah, that's it. Just wanna say that. I enjoyed my time with Subahibi. Just wanted to say that before I ended off this episode. Yeah, thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the story up till this moment. And see you next time.